Okay, so we have been doing the topic on user interfaces. This is the topic that we have been doing. And at the start, we discussed that there are four main types of user interfaces. And, before that as well, we discussed in detail what is meant by the term user interface. Okay, and how does the user interface, which is provided to the user by the computer program, enables the user to communicate with the computer effectively. So there are four different types of user interfaces, namely command line or CLI, graphical user interface or GUI, dialogue based interface, and gesture based interface. We have already discussed these two, command line and graphical user interface. Today we are going to focus on dialogue based and gesture based user interfaces. So let's see what these are. Okay, so dialogue based interface, as the name suggests, is a type of an interface that allows the user to communicate with a device by making use of verbal commands. You can instruct a device to do anything on the basis of giving it a verbal command, saying something and making the device follow your instruction or do the job that you are instructing it to do through your voice command. This is what a dialogue based interface is all about. Okay, it is now, we could see that it is very different from the types of interfaces that we have discussed so far in the shape of CLI and GUI. Both of those interfaces are very conventional in the way we make use of computers or we make use of devices. And with command line, that we had to type in the commands to make the computer perform a task or follow a certain instruction. With graphical user interfaces, there's a graphical interface in the shape of windows, icons, menus, and a pointer that you see on the screen, and that is how you could manipulate the interface. You could manipulate the device on which the interface is shown. I mean, you could control the device by giving it certain commands using, particularly making use of a special, I would say, input device known as a mouse, which is a pointing device. So dialogue-based interface, as opposed to CLI and GUI, is a type of an interface which is based on verbal commands. Nothing needs to be typed in. Nothing needs to be instructed by maybe using a pointing device or something, but anything that we would like the device to do had to be instructed, or I should say, has to be instructed in the form of a verbal command that I can give to the device, and I can then make the device perform that particular task for me. If you look at the description which is given here, it says uses the human voice to give commands to the computer. So not only the computer, but of course any other device. We will have a look at a few other examples of devices which accept verbal commands to perform certain tasks. A microphone is used to pick up the keywords spoken by the user, and the computer then takes the necessary action. Now I think we can realize one thing, that with this type of an interface, an input device that becomes absolutely essential to be used is a microphone. Without a microphone, you will not be able to interact with a voice recognition system, okay, or a dialogue-based interface, I should say. So you have to give verbal commands. So for that, you need a particular input device, which is the microphone. And of course, when you use a microphone, your audio data or your voice will get converted into a digital form, into ones and zeros for the computer to understand, and it is through that the machine is then able to understand your commands and it is able to work upon them. So that's one thing. Another point that I have picked up here in this brief description is the word is a term keywords. You know what is a keyword? Or what would a keyword mean in context of a dialogue-based interface? Yes. Okay. Anyone else? Basically, a keyword or a list of keywords would be those words which should be part of that verbal command that I'm actually giving to the device to make it perform a certain task. And if I do not make use of those keywords, the command would not be interpreted properly. So certain keywords or command words will have to be used in the instructions for the machine to understand them and then be able to act upon them. All right, so keywords are important with dialogue-based interfaces and use of the appropriate input device, which in this case will be a microphone. All right, okay. For further detail on it, I would go to our course book, which is that has this topic described in a bit of more detail. So let's see what it is. Okay, I'm going to give it a reading from here as well to have a look at more detail regarding this topic. Dialogue-based user interface. It says, dialogue-based user interfaces use the human voice to give commands to the computer system. An example of its use is in some luxury modern cars. Luxury modern cars where voice activation is used to control devices such as the in-car entertainment system or the satellite navigation system. We do know that we have cars even in our country that have voice command features in them, where some of the key operations that we would like to perform while we are driving the car can be performed by activating those features by making use of a voice command rather than having to press buttons here and there on the dashboard. So say for instance, if I would like the air conditioning to be turned on, I can give this command verbally instead of having to look for the air conditioning button on my dashboard. Same goes with the fan speed, same goes with maybe the heating system, maybe putting the CD player on. Sorry? Lighting, maybe not really the lighting, but I would say the skyline, the sunroof of the car can be opened up and can be closed. Windows can be opened and closed through a voice command. I was just going to give you the example of maybe putting on the radio and then on the radio putting on a particular channel through a voice command. Now, having said this, and by the way, same goes with the sat nav system on your car. When I sit in the car and I would like to instruct my sat nav system about the destination that I would like to reach, I can give the destination, or I can input my destination in the form of a verbal command rather than having to type it into my system to make the sat nav system realize the destination that I want to go to. All right, are you getting this? Yeah, okay. Now somebody tell me, is there any benefit, particularly in this particular situation where we are able to make use of voice commands in cars? Do you see any benefit of this, or what do you think would be the biggest benefit of being able to use voice commands rather than having to press buttons? You can say it is faster. Yeah, you can say that. Very good, excellent. This is exactly the point that I was looking for, and this is probably the most important of the benefits of being able to use a voice control system in a car. It does not distract you from the road. You would have noticed, and I think although you people are not the age where you might be driving cars, but you would have seen people driving cars, and to perform certain operations, the driver has to divert his or her attention from the road, maybe even for a fraction of a second, but to certain other part inside the car where he has to look for a button, or maybe either on the dashboard or on the touch screen to give a command or to make use of a feature. Now that very short little time that you are taking your attention away from the road, even that might not be a very good idea. Because when you are driving, sometimes road situations can change within a split second, and something that appears very okay to at the moment while I'm driving might very suddenly change. So I will only be able to act upon that change or react to it if I am 100% concentrating on the road. If at that very moment somehow my attention wandered and I was paying attention to something else instead of the road, that could be catastrophic. Or that could be the difference between maybe saving myself from an accident or meeting an accident. What if at that very moment when I got my attention away from the road is when something something happens that needed my immediate attention? All right. So it is for this reason that we can say that dialogue based interfaces come in very handy, or they're very helpful when it comes to driving cars, because the driver does not have to divert his attention from the road. All right. Yes.
It does have some bad impacts on humans as they have become more lazy and started to save early and not doing the.
Okay, yeah, but how would that relate to a person driving a car? It could be one of the one valid point when we discuss certain other applications of voice based systems or dialogue based interfaces, but not in this particular situation, I would say. Yeah. Okay. So even with fully autonomous cars like Tesla, they do not suggest that even if the car is able to self drive or it is an autonomous car, they still say that the driver still has to be on his guard and be alert, okay, while the car is on autopilot. Even with that kind of a vehicle, you're not advised to divert your attention from the road, to be honest. Okay, yeah, you can relax for a bit, but still, being active and aware of the situation around while the car drives itself. All right. Okay. Having said this, let's move on to some more examples. It says by speaking certain commands such as "Hey BMW, drive me to the nearest airport," the system allows natural speech to enable the driver to intuitively interact with the car. So this is just one example. The satellite navigation, or the sat nav system, will automatically direct the driver to their chosen destination, whatever destination the driver would have spoken into the system. Okay, the car would take that as an input, and I mean the sat nav system would take that as an input and would basically drive you to that particular location. Okay, this type of an interface could also be used in the home. By using voice commands, it is possible to switch on or off lights, operate electronic equipment, and so on. In recent years, devices such as Amazon Alexa, Google Now, and Apple Siri, and Microsoft Cortana have all been developed to interact with humans by recognizing verbal commands. Now, this is what makes, according to your point, or one of the drawbacks that you were giving of dialogue-based interfaces, with such technology may make people become lazy. Because they do not actually have to really get up to do most things. They can just sit back, and through voice commands they can operate so many things, either through voice commands, using their dialogue with the machine, or it could be just tapping a few things on a device and making things work remotely, or controlling them remotely, such as maybe closing the main gate or opening the main gate, turning the lights on or off. Yeah. So, well, you're entering a room, or you were sitting in the room and now it is a bit dark, and you think that the lights must be turned on now. Had you not have access to such technology, you would have to get up from your seat, go all the way to the switch where the buttons are, and you'll have to turn the light on. But in this case, you would not have to worry about it. You would just keep on sitting, and you'll just give the actual command, or the command that is needed to turn the lights on, and the lights would turn on, or the lights would turn off, or the heating or the cooling system would turn on or off. All right, the door will open or close. The windows can be opened or closed. Yeah, the curtains can be drawn or and all that. So all these commands can be given through these home automation devices or home automation systems that allow us to control various aspects or of our living. Okay, when we are in the home, we can control them through voice commands. All right, without, and of course the need for getting up and doing certain things would not remain, hence making people a little lazy. Yes. Yes, that's a very valid point. That is a very valid point. uh, Dependence is not a very good thing always, you know. And in this case, if you become heavily dependent upon technology like that, then you would not, I mean, you will not remain used to doing things the other way. If you get into a habit of doing everything by sitting in one place where you do not have to get up, if at any point in time, say for instance, your system goes out of order, then you would really feel a lot of hassle in doing all this. Even getting up from your couch and walking all the way in the same room to the wall where you have the switchboard to turn the lights on might seem to be an uphill task. Why am I required to do this? Are you getting what I'm saying? So dependence is bad in that sense. Also, you see, one thing with humans is this, that humans are very adaptable. Humans are very adaptable. God has made humans very adaptable in the sense that, well, if we want to adapt to any change or any particular environment, it is up to us. It is up to our own will. How much can we adapt to it? And we can adapt to many things very easily. So, here as well, if you get into a habit of being lazy, not doing things by getting up from your seat and roaming around or walking around the house and doing certain things, then probably you'll adapt to that kind of a situation. And when that facility is not available, you may not like it, or it may become a little difficult for you to handle some very simple tasks that should not be laborious at all for you to do. Yes. Come again and speak a little loud. Oh yes. So that is what laziness is about. You know, if you keep on sitting, you become lazy in the sense that uh, you are not into any physical activity whatsoever. So when you're not getting up, you're not moving your legs, you're not moving your arms, you're not moving your body, you're just sitting positioned in one place, then of course physically you start feeling lazy. Even mentally probably you start feeling lazy. Yeah. Okay. Now here's a little description. I would say it's a pictorial description or representation of how a person may use such a system to give a verbal command. The system takes your voice as input, processes it. So if you look at this, I would say that this is the analog form of data or your command, gets converted into digital or binary for the computer to understand or process, and then produce the required output, which is executing the task that the user had commanded to be done through the voice command. All right. Okay. Well, some of the examples have been given here in the book. Can you think of any other example? I think most of the examples have been given. Like, uh, you know that in your phone you have this feature of voice dialing as well. Yeah, where you can just speak out the name of the person, okay, that you would like to dial the number of, and the number can be dialed. All right. So this is what dialogue based interfaces is all about.